Hello and welcome to Thursday night on the Ulysses International channel. I am James the GM. Welcome back to me. Welcome back to all of you who are joining us and tuning in. If you were expecting the Dark Eye, then you were not paying attention. And Mark brought his epic 3-shot of Lost Mail to a close on Tuesday. And so Tuesday we will be back to Torg. But tonight we are back to Fading Suns. And before we get into that, I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, Mark, thank you so much for stepping in and running those games. Everybody who played it, I appreciate it. It was a good time to just take a step back and get everything set up and then go get some writing done. Speaking of writing, the Myth Quick Start, which if you've been listening to Ross and I talk about Myth, Tales of Legend, the RPG, the Lost Barrow is on Drive-Thru RPG right now. You can download it. It is pay what you want. Ross did the design of the mechanics. I did the invention, the Lost Barrow. If you get it, let us know what you think. Finally, the Ulysses Con starts tomorrow. You can go, if you Google just Ulysses Online Con 2020, it'll take you to the Ulysses-US.com site that has the information for the Ulysses Online Convention. If you follow them on Twitter or on Facebook, you will definitely see the schedule being posted. I'm sitting in on 2 panels for Myth. Ross will be on there, and then if you enjoy the board game, there will be lots of discussions about Myth lore and the role-playing game and that sort of thing. As part of the Ulysses convention, though, I got a copy of the Fading Suns introduction booklet. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but that is a jump gate. How cool does that look? And the art, as Richard pointed out, is definitely a step up from previous editions of the game. Ulysses is bringing full color art to the whole thing. If you've seen the introduction, it's on Drive-Thru RPG as well. It is gorgeous. The printout version is also gorgeous. So go check all of those out. Now, when we last left off on the Annals of Antioch, nope, on Curse of the Abandoned. Haha, I don't have too many games going on, not at all. You guys had made it to the planet that Ashkagael had retreated to with Perpetua, and once there you were able to discuss or you were able to kind of figure out what was going on the planet, trying to find some way to track her back to where she had taken Perpetua, but Perpetua was waiting for you there. Some sort of insidious trap that you all kind of figured that was what was going on. And through some useful intervention by Father Bell, Perpetua was rid of whatever conditioning, at least for the time being, that Ashkagael had submitted her to, and she's sort of being bifurcated, split into 2 locations at once. There is the Perpetua that the group is traveling with, and at the same time Perpetua is being tormented at the heart of this stone fortress, this obsidian palace that the records that the group discovered on Ravenna seem to have spoken a little bit more poetically of than actually when you guys got there. It was just a weather-beaten rock that definitely had sort of the general structure. It evoked the idea of a castle, but was not like a hand-carved castle. Landing on the top of that, you had well, there was an accident. Bran was horribly mutilated by something on the ship while you guys were sort of outside dealing with other things, and so Runner guided you to land on top of the rocky Tor as Brother Gabriel and Cutter exited the ship. The part of the Tor collapsed, dropping the ship hundreds of meters down, leaving Brother Gabriel and Cutter to fight this sort of alien creature that is indigenous to the planet. One that had, as Brother Gabriel found out twice, acidic blood. And so when we left off, Gabriel
Yes,
and Cutter...
but it urinates very quietly.
It does. You guys headed into the top of this tour while Father Bell, Perpetua, and Runner rescued Bran and managed to vacate your ship before it fell several more 100 meters into what seemed to be the volcanic heart of this structure. And the four of you headed down into this tunnel as opposed to trying to scale down the walls. So we're going to start with, I have conveniently arranged you on my screen into Group A up top and Group B on the bottom. So, without further ado, you guys, as you head down the tunnel, again, it felt cold almost immediately as you transitioned from the outside, or kind of this ledge that overlooked the lava pit, and kind of stepped into this shadowy hall. Runner is carrying what I only imagine is Bran, the bed, several gallons of milk, and 16 different close to short-range weapons. I feel so bad. If you were jumping in on Fading Suns tonight, Runner is not some sort of giant centipede. They are merely a lupine alien species that has 6 limbs.
8,000 limbs.
So, what do you do, Father Bell and Perpetua?
Do we see any more of those bloody footprints that you were?
They do continue
mentioned?
to extend sort of down the hall.
Are they approximately the same size as my feet?
As you sort of put your foot next to them, they are about the same size as as your footprint would be if you were not in boots.
Okay.
Do you remember leaving these footprints?
I do not. And I have to focus on remaining in the present because my consciousness is split currently. So if I want to remain here, I have to choose to do that.
Well, pray for your strength.
Thank you.
All right.
We have to continue. Runner, you may need to find some defensible place to protect Bran, and we must find wherever Perpetua is being tormented and rescue her. Fortunately, I have Perpetua to help me do that, and hopefully rendezvous with Brother Gabriel and Cutter, and see what we can do to thwart the vile designs that are underway here.
So are you guys kind of standing here in the hall? Or are you having this discussion as you're following the footprints? What is sort of going on with this small group right now?
Yeah, I think it's not safe for Runner to stay here. So I think that we need to follow the footprints, all of us, together. But I agree that if we find a place where Runner can kind of bunker down with Bran, that would be our best plan of attack.
All right, so as you sort of march down the hall, how are you spread out? What are you guys doing? Again, it's very hard to see here. There's sort of this ambient orange glow that you can't really see where it's coming from. It always seems to be the source always just seems to be a little bit further down the hall. So everything is dappled with this orange light, and shadows sort of cling to the sides of the tunnel.
So I'm looking at the surroundings, and I think that I am in the front. because I want to see where the footsteps go.
Okay. Father Bell?
I'm following her and focusing my prayers on her well-being and trying to stay alert, and feeling the web of fate around us, as I have still the rite of celestial alignments donned.
All right. As you sort of head down the path, what is strange about the tunnel is that as you kind of are moving through it, up ahead it sort of constricts and then it opens back up, and it constricts again and it opens back up. And there's this, you get every so often you get these hints of brimstone, but also this sort of vegetal rotting smell kind of coming from up ahead. And as you sort of, the tunnel is constantly sloped down, and it sort of starts to open up, and you can see that the red glow is shifting more to this reddish tinge up ahead. And you come out again at the top of this path that sort of zigzags down, steep sides dropping 4 meters to the ground. And what you see is a barren field of leafless trees. And every so often you hear the cracking noise as if a branch is being snapped. And there's a slight sound of grinding stone coming from behind you.
Sounds ominous.
All right, can I just have each of you give me a... pull this up here. A perception plus observe roll for me. While you're doing that, Brother Gabriel, it's not that the air gets better. It just seems to sting less on your however many lungs you are packing into that spectacular torso of yours. Cutter, you follow behind as the two of you leave this lizard-like moth creature behind you. And again, there's that carved entryway on the side of one of the rocky spars that stick up out of the tor. And you again see the well-worn, almost to the point of being absent, stairs that sort of curve and spiral down, as if something... What was that?
So we're not actually underground then?
You do. Like, you enter into one of these spires, and you're now working... Like, it's sort of like a...
I got you.
As you get about 4 or 5 revolutions down here, you notice 2 things, Cutter and Gabriel. One, Gabriel, your mask is breached. You can tell that the air is no longer as acidic as it was topside. Cutter, your think machine is sort of relaying the same information to you. And the second thing is, you see glyphs sort of carved into the stone, and as they move from indistinguishable to the wall, sort of into like a cinderous red, and then orange, and then like almost a putrescent yellow, and fade back to nothingness. You can see they are carved throughout this stairwell, and the more you descend, the more of them there seems to be.
Is it in Earthish?
It is not in Earthish. It's not in any language that you can recognize.
I just know Earthish.
All ye who enter here. That's my guess.
You speak Latin, so...
Well, I read Latin.
You read Latin. Actually, I think I just not to cripple your character because you do totally speak and read. It is a read write or it's a speak read or speak write Earthish.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you need to speak in Latin with Father Bell, I expect Richard, you to just drop into Latin, and then Father Bell, Evan, you're just going to have to give your best guess. It's the Chewbacca effect.
Clock non Pacquiao.
Well, first of all, I would like to, as an open action, lodge a formal protest that you ignored my pterodactyl joke a moment
No,
ago.
I purposefully ignored the pterodactyl joke.
Let the record show.
It is noted in the logs.
I've been on the phone literally for over 14 hours today with work, so I'm a little...
Totally fair.
So
Okay.
normal.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so can I read what it says?
They're glyphs. They're not so much languages as they are sigils in the wall.
Sorry, I've never been to that city.
All right, so are they on the wall to the sides, or are they sort of like over the archway?
They're not over the archway. As you kind of been moving around, they're in the walls.
I gotcha. So they're just glyphs. There's no like pictograms or anything like that.
Yeah, probably just they're probably just like feel good.
Well, I just mean like if there's like pictures or icons or things like that that I would recognize.
No, again, these are more line and dot sigils. They seem to be. There doesn't seem to be a repeating pattern, but if you stare at them long enough, they're not always the same sigil in the same spot.
All right. So first of all, how long does it take to take a revival?
You can spend a revival. You just have something that triggers it, if I remember correctly.
Sort of like a,
But it was just in combat that you had to.
I think you can use a revival.
yeah. If that's
In
all right,
combat, you have to try
Okay.
to do it.
I will use a revival. Because otherwise we're going to be in bad shape here.
So when you said the color changes, is that like stationary, or does it go from the color of the stone through the different colors and then fade like a strobe light, or is it just as we walk it goes from one
No.
color to the
So
next
each individual sigil sort of appears on the wall and moves from
and fade?
like a dull cinders orange to a bright, or a cinders red to a brighter orange to sort of a sickly yellow, and then kind of retreats back down.
So as we walk by them, they do that? Like we're triggering it to do it?
No, they just seem
Okay.
to be appearing at random points on the walls.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't like as we go down, it's like relaying message.
You also start to hear a dripping sound coming from beneath you. You also hear several rumbles as if the earth is settling.
Spaceship just fell through the door.
It did.
All right, so first order of business would have been to reload the shotgun. Take a
Okay.
revival, reload my shotgun. I'm guessing Cutter is stealthier than me? Any stealthy at all would be stealthier than me. My sneak is not.
I haven't put any points in it, but we can try to be quiet.
Oh no, oh, we're so screwed.
Richard, just for the record, you can use your revival when you need to.
Okay, so in that case, I'm going to reload. The first thing I would have done as soon as we got to where the air was breathable and we didn't have anything on our back was reload the shotgun. And then I guess if Cutter doesn't have any stealth since he's the marksman, I'll take point.
I mean, we can try to be.
Well, we can try to be, but I mean, if it's one or the other, there's no reason for me not to go first since I've got lots of armor and a shotgun. It's kind of more of a point weapon. So.
That's fine.
All right. So the two of you sort of descending down this spire. Again, the stairs again seem a little too wide, a little too well worn to be to have been used any time in recent memory. It looks like they again were well worn down by whatever normally would traverse this. And you come around the stairs exit on a landing archway in front of you, and beyond which Brother Gabriel, you're the one who kind of like feels that all of the moisture in your mouth just goes away. And on the other side of this archway there is a floor of black sand, and you can see several large stones that have been placed in the sand, obelisks that have a very altar-like shape to them. In fact, they look very similar to the altars, the stones that were driven into the stone that was driven into the jump drive, and the thing that the altar in the shrine was sort of converting to. They lay on the sand, and you can see above this area there are several large. There's a large field of stalactites in this cavern, and they seem to be dripping something. They're the source of the sound of the drippings. And when it strikes the sand, there's this sizzling noise, and you can see that there are small discs of glass in the black sand under which, kind of underneath the dripping stalactites. And there is a hot desert wind that just seems to be pulling through this area. And you hear another cackling laugh and the sound of feathers beating against the wind.
Does it look like we can traverse this room without being dripped on?
It is possible. You would have to be very careful. You can use... Well, that's what I'll give you with just the question.
And does it look like maybe this dripping and sizzling is causing the glass? Like it's melting the sand into these glass discs?
You'd have to get closer.
Are they collecting the drippiness, or is it just fusing with...
It just seems to fuse into there.
Okay. I think the drips are causing the sand to turn into glass.
Well, there's a lot of acid around this place. So let's avoid the drips.
Is there an obvious, by studying this, is there an obvious path along the edge?
Give me a perception plus observe roll there, Mark. And while you guys do that, I'm going to jump back up to, all right, Perpetua and Father Bell. I
succeeded with a 12.
Okay.
I succeeded with a 3.
Okay. The difficulty for this
task
is
a success.
Is 10. So...
Oh. Do you not have any in your bank?
I could surge.
Okay.
I mean, I have some in my bank, but I don't have a 10.
I don't know. I will spend the 10.
But
I don't know that you want to use your surge on this.
All right.
All right. So first of all, Cutter, Restar says that you might be able to use some of those drippings to make your cooking taste better. So
I probably could.
Father Bell, you see kind of what I told you. With 10, Perpetua... Father Bell, did you want to spend anything just to see what you gathered from the general feel of the place? It is up to you.
Yeah. I'll spend 2.
Okay. So, Father Bell, you can clearly see there are forms bound within the trees. Not bound to the trees, but bound within the trees. And that where you all see, where you see the broken limbs, the trees weep blood from the breaks and the cracks. Blood sort of trails down from the tears into the bark of the trees, sort of gathering like red sap throughout the whole thing. Perpetua, you notice two things hidden within, or three things hidden within this kind of vista that you can see. One, there are several exits kind of down through the forest, kind of off to the side, leading back the way you came, but at a much steeper decline. You can see that there are shapes moving through the trees, not so much on the ground, but flitting from treetop to treetop. And they seem to be, they're off in the distance. They have a vaguely humanoid shape, although they possess, it almost seems as if their hands and their feet are connected by some sort of cloak or membrane. And as they jump on a tree, you can see they kind of grab onto a branch with their feet and twist one of their feet to break the branches. And there is this high-pitched, almost feminine, delightful titter every time they do that. And then the last thing you sort of pick up is that grinding of stone was a lot closer than you may at first realized. And when you look back, there is no tunnel behind you. There is one of Runner's hands sticking out of a stone wall.
Can I go touch Runner's hand?
You can. It is cold and lifeless.
We murdered Runner?
No, JM murdered Runner. So there.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Okay. All right. Well, I tell Father Bell what I've seen.
And I mean, lifeless Runner's hand is, I mean, that's pretty devastating for Father Bell.
You both hear the sound of Ashkagael's laughter and that soft voice. Oh, did I say 4 little travelers wandering through this place, this ground which they have no right to tread? 2 little travelers, all alone.
Not alone. Not alone by a long shot. Your crimes will be answered.
The flying beings don't wear vests and little fezzes, right?
No, they're not flying monkeys. Thank you, Mark.
Not a little bit more like flying squirrels, but
Wrong. Wrong reference.
Okay.
I was getting
I
a
love
good
those anyway.
image of JM saying, "Fly, my pretties, fly." Did you just do that for me real quick, Jim?
No. If it comes up organically,
Afterwards?
sure. Maybe off screen, but definitely not while it's being recorded for posterity's sake.
You're so picky.
So as you answer, you just hear, "You're right. How foolish of me, Father Bell. You're not alone." And you hear these screeching noises coming from the forest. Quick! Wouldn't want you to die up here all alone when I have an entire forest of those who have given themselves to me for you to join.
Do we head downward?
What choice do we have?
I mean, we could die here of our, despair, but
Um, despair.
As a GM, I'm going, excellent.
We must go forward.
Could be a problem with this campaign is we have too many GMs playing all at once.
so we head downward.
All right. As you head down into, you very quickly reach the end of the path. And you, Perpetua, your think machine automatically comes up, sort of superimposing what you saw over your field of vision. You are here, exit tunnels kind of here. It's extrapolated sort of how to get to where your ship landed, which is where you know, where you are at. But as you
none of us can fly the ship, so I'm no longer sure if that's the correct there's no other way out, so I guess that's the only place that we can head. But
you do have for memory's sake, there are the other ships that are in the terraforming station.
Yep.
So as you enter into the forest, Perpetua, every so often you think that one of the branches sort of like kind of drops, but it never actually touches you. Whereas Father Bell, I'm going to need a endurance plus vigor roll as the branches of the forest seem to lash out at you.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I'm super good at that.
I thought
wait.
so.
Should have been doing my cardio.
Natty 20?
No,
Oh, okay.
just a failure and wondering if I should mitigate it or not.
Choice is
You
yours,
might want
Father
to.
Bell.
You want
Alright.
a weird point?
I'm going to. Well, I already rolled. I am gonna re-roll.
Okay.
Bending
Oh, you
feet.
do? You have your one reroll from your divine insight.
I do.
And for the record, I don't think having this many GMs in a game is a bad thing. I think this is delightful.
I'm delighting. I'm on this side again and can throw wrenches.
Phantom of Truth
I-
says, "Can't you just nuke it from orbit?" To that, I
That was
have to
my-
respond.
That was my choice.
It's
from
the
get-go.
only way to be sure.
Sorry, Perpetua. I was ready to get back on the ship and
One
leave.
problem, Phantom. We're not in orbit. So thanks for playing. Yes, with some bending
It's
of
called a
fate,
tactical
I am
nuke.
able
Jeez.
to succeed, and I guess I'll spend. I don't know. Is it a blind bid, or
This is a blind bid.
I'll spend 6.
All right, Father Bell, none of the scratches seem to damage your suit, but every time one of them touches you, you definitely feel a psychic assault, as if the spirit of the person within the tree is trying to desperately reach out and make contact with you. Cutter, what did you get on your roll?
So I got a 10, and I still had some in my vault. Is this a blind bid to figure this out?
This is kind of what I call a gradiated bid. The more you bid, the more you will get, more information you will get.
Okay, I will spend 8 points.
All right, 8 points. So, Cutter, as you sort of look across the field with 8 points, you're kind of looking around Brother Gabriel, whose art is so large that it is hard to place in an aesthetically pleasing fashion on the screen. So I can only
I
assume
get that a lot.
in game, Cutter, you are having trouble to kind of survey the whole of the field from behind Brother Gabriel.
I'll just squat down and look between his legs.
Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer.
I don't have my camera.
So, What you see, Cutter, is you both can have a weird point. You can see that there is a way to get across the sand field. Your guess is that as long as you move carefully, you can lead a path that, one, you will be completely safe in, and that Gabriel will just have to keep an eye out for. But with 8, you also notice there are some prints in the sand. Rather large clawed footprints. Sort of pads, like large canine-like pads, but talon-like claws on the front.
All right, I think I've read about this. We have to walk without rhythm.
Shouldn't be a problem.
At least you're not leaving footprints in stone. You know?
So what's the plan, gentlemen?
Do you want to follow me, Brother Gabriel? I think I've determined a path where we won't get dripped on.
We could do that, or I could follow you part of the way, pick you up and carry you part of the way, and then sit you back down again.
Because then there would be footprints in the sand.
For a nice footprints in the sand gag at the end. So, but barring that, yes, you should lead the way.
Okay. And you tell me I need to not walk in a rhythmic pattern?
I think it might be more important just to get across.
Okay.
Chat, you all realize that when they die, it will totally be justified. No GMing court in land will convict me. All right. I'm just gonna do that real quick. All right, so as you kind of head out across the sand, Gabriel, you immediately see smoke arise from the footprints that Cutter is leaving in the sand. Cutter, you feel the heat from the sand just baking its way through your boots. And as you You what?
I'll quicken my pace.
All right, as you quicken your pace, moving around what seems to be this burning. It's not caustic, right? It seems to be superheated in some way. You can see every time it hits that the glass discs are distending further and further into the sand. But as you begin to run across, several things happen at once. Cutter and Brother Gabriel, I will need endurance plus vigor rolls because you are being exposed to extreme temperatures. 2, as you get closer to the altars, you can see there are people bound on the altars, screaming in pain. All of them wear vestments of the Earth Orthodoxy. Old vestments, like from the time when this planet was being terraformed. And Brother Gabriel, you recognize the symbol that has been branded on their head. It does not, like the flesh there still seems to be bubbling and charring as if the burning is continuous. But it is the symbol that is reserved for those who have been convicted of blasphemy. Those who were in the church and willingly turned to the creatures in the void between stars.
These are people on the altars?
These are people on the altars who are being bound there. Yes.
Yeah, screw them.
Are there people standing around them? Like,
nope, they're just bound there as you sort of cross this cavern.
Oh, so this is sort of a Dante's Inferno kind of a situation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay, then I will call out to one of them and say, "Oh, spirit, who are you? Why are you here?"
So you're stopping to talk at this point.
No, I can talk and walk.
but you're sort of past. All right, what did you get on your vigor rolls?
I got a 13.
I critted with a whopping 19. That was well spent VP on that one.
Nice. And what did you get?
I got a 13. I succeeded.
All right. So how much are you? Well, so Mark automatically succeeds.
Yeah.
How much are you spending?
Well, I guess I'll just spend all 13 because you can't. Oh wait, my bank is higher than it used to be.
Yeah, we're allowed to keep 15 now.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm gonna spend all 13 because my bank is apparently still full. So.
All right.
So I'll spend all 13.
All right. You guys managed to stave off the effects of the heat. Yet as you move, you also can hear the sounds of something else moving through the sand at a great rate kind of towards you. And as you speak out to the bound figure that you are approaching, we're going to jump to the other two real quick. All right, Father Bell, Perpetua, you are in this forest. What are you doing?
Walking as quickly as possible along the route that my think machine laid out.
Okay. Fair enough.
Perpetua, I know we need to get through here. We're in grave danger, but the tormented souls in these trees are trying to reach me, and perhaps they have something that could help us. It could be a trap, but I could communicate with them, with one of them.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to rend the veil of unreason and try to read the thoughts of the hideous creature trapped within the nearest tree that's reaching out, trying to grab me.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for it.
Alrighty. All right. Ugh. That is a. Fine. And I'm gonna need to surge. Oops. Okay. That'll take care of that. All right, so I had to spend a total of 10, and
All right. So what does it show you here?
Well, so the thing that I'm focused on is that the part of the site that allows me that conveys to me the target's thoughts. But I'm able to see sin, the particular sin's tarnish, the auras, and in terms of the color of emotion, state of mind.
All right. Well, you can see several things sort of immediately. There are, you can see there are marks. The soul is bound into the very fibers of the tree, and there are marks as if they have been somehow the soul's mirror has been chewed on or eaten away. It is also very tarnished and almost occluded from your sight. But the soul within the tree is tormented near constantly by something that happened in its life. And yeah. As Father Bell is kind of looking at this tree, trying to divine what is going on there, Perpetua, you see one of these creatures kind of land next to you. And it is this hideous image of a woman, visage of a woman with stringy gray hair, almost a crone-like face. And again, wings that kind of, like this fibrous membrane that goes from arms to wrist to ankles that allows her to kind of glide between the trees. And as you watch, she snaps off a piece of one of the trees, causing more sap to run from the face in the tree, and just begins to eat the flesh of the tree. And you hear a little voice, not here, but there. Oh, Perpetua, how do you like my children? Your despair, you almost gave in to it. And then there would be one more person in my little garden. You sure that's not the easiest way out for you? Just let go.
I talk to the creature in front of me. Who are you?
Its eyes snap down to look at you, and when it opens its mouth, much like the creature that Cutter and Gabriel fought, its mouth, it had, it's just kind of chewing up here, but when it screeches, its mouth distends almost down to the base of its collarbone, and you can just see several serrated rows of teeth in there, pulping the mash of the tree branch, as it and two others leap at you and Father Bell.
Okay.
I am Jeremiah, son of Bogomil. Who are you?
I am Perpetua
Oh, sorry.
of the Order.
I was
sorry.
jumping back
Wrong
to
one.
the other group.
I thought you were talking to me. I was
know.
talking
I'm so
to
sorry,
them.
Lily. That was my confusion there.
He knew who he was talking to.
My name is Gabriel. Why are you here?
I am here because I blasphemed against the pattern creator. I followed my father into the worship of Ashkagael, believing that this world was a prison, and that she would be the vessel that would take us and free us from the bonds of the material.
And how'd that work out for you?
As you ask that, the sound of movement through the sand stops, and this large creature lands on top of the figure on top of the altar, and you can hear bones breaking and flesh sizzling as this raven-headed hound that has feathers down its back instead of fur and large canine-like paws that end in talons that you can smell the flesh cooking where it touches it, sort of screeches and reaches into Jeremiah's stomach and starts pulling out entrails, and then it locks eyes with the two of you, and you can clearly see in the deep set eyes in its sort of avian skull, you can see the image of the hooded form of Ashkagael, one looking at each of you out of the eyes of this creature. Two of your friends are dead. The other two will join them soon.
I just sort of narrow my eyes. I raise the reliquary of St. Beatrice and I say, let us not be distracted by these evil rays. Let's find our friends.
All right, I would like a faith plus focus roll from you, Brother Gabriel.
All right. I'm gonna spend 4 victory points. Raise my target.
Do you need a weird point?
No, I got this. It says 16. It's a success.
Okay, how much do you want to spend as you sort of raise the reliquary of St. Beatrice?
I'll spend 12.
All right. So, let's see how fried Richard's brain is right now. Do you remember what's in the reliquary?
It's part of her vestments.
It is part of her vestments. As you raise the reliquary above your head, and it is not just invoking Saint Beatrice, but rather sort of her as a signpost or an image in the distance of what following the Pancreator actually represents, and the hope that we have there. Right, the saint is not something you worship, but kind of a channel, if you will, for approaching the Pancreator. It blazes with ardent light, and the creature on the heretic screeches out this murderous caw that has a deep gravelly undertone, and it is actually knocked off of the heretic and hits the ground, and it sizzles itself, flipping over and running back into the caverns. Now you can also see, as you hold this up, the chains around Jeremiah seem to be melting in the light from the reliquary.
Gosh darn it to heck.
That is like the highest praise you can get from a GM.
No, it's just like, oh, there's I guess I should do this because I'm a good person now. It is very frustrating. All right. Do you renounce Ashkagiel and all his ways? Or ways? I don't know.
Richard, like right here, man. Like right here. Cutter, what are you doing while all of this is going on?
I was covering Brother Gabriel because I thought a firefight would ensue, and more of this religion that I don't fully understand, but I'm all about it if that knocked that thing back. Not sure what he's doing with the guy on the altar. I mean, did I hear him when he said that I was a blasphemer and followed?
Yeah, you heard all of it.
Oh, yeah. Then I'm not Father Bell, but you can stay on the altar because you screwed up. But hey, I'm here with Brother Gabriel. So, are we going? Or are we staying?
I asked
Brother Gabriel.
You hear, out of the lips. You speak Latin.
No.
Brother Gabriel. You hear, I mean, he calls out, eleison, mercy, and that's Greek. Sorry, it's my old Greek brain. Sorry, my apologies there. He calls out for mercy to the Pancreator in Latin. And you can see the brand starting to close on his forehead.
Are the chains still melting?
The chains are still melting as long as you sort of keep it.
All right. Fine. I will save this soul, Saint Beatrice. But then I am kicking some ass.
All right.
I will cover the beast went out the way we came in, right?
No, it kind of went off into the deeper caverns, not the direction you were headed. It kind of came back the way it was coming in.
Okay, yeah. But it went away from us, so I'm just going to cover that in case it wants to come back while Gabriel does his thing.
All right. As you watch the chains melt, and this Jeremias kind of stands up, wide-eyed in wonder, and sort of stumbles off of the altar. You can see where his robes, still slick with blood, kind of peel away from the stone. Who are the two of you?
I'm Brother Gabriel. This is Cutter. I don't really think that answers any of your questions, but basically, you're a priest, right?
I was once. Not sure
Okay.
I am worthy of the title anymore.
Right. Yes. We're all super unworthy of the title, but here's the thing, okay? The demon that did this to you, okay? We're going for her head. So, you want to make yourself useful? Start praying real hard.
You can smell the stench of his burning feet as he stands in the sands.
Come on, get off this freaking set. Good grief. I mean,
This
It
is
was
just like
then
that
that I
movie that I once saw when I was a child. All right, as you Yoda this priest
Hey.
across.
we got our footprints in the sand joke now.
You did. Damn it, Richard. All right, so the two of you head across the cavern, burying Jeremias, who is stumbling through the litany of prayers of the Earth Orthodoxy, finding that after all this time, getting back into the routine of them, they are ingrained too indelibly in his soul to have completely forgotten them, even through countless years of heresy and millennia of torture. You make it across the black sands, and you can see, kind of off to your left, the track that the ship made as it crashed through. And you can see that, again, hundreds of meters below, there seems to be some sort of dull red fiery glow as you are sort of presented on this far side. There are several stairways that head down. There is the sheer cliff, and there are 3 tunnels that kind of go around, drawing down deeper into this thing. And we'll come back to you guys in a second. So, these 3 things attack you. What do you guys do? 2 of them leap for Perpetua. Oh, come on. 19 doesn't do me any good, and neither does a 12. They attack at you in a flurry of membranous claws and gaping maws, as they sort of almost lamprey-like jump out of the trees at you. Father Bell, the one on you hits with a 1, so I'm going to spend 4 points to overcome your resistance.
Can't hear you.
I take the damage and get mutilated. All right, Father Bell, if that's what you want.
You're on mute there, sir.
Oh, I think his
Or your mic's not working.
Yeah, his
There
mic-
you go.
No, I'm here.
Okay,
I'm here.
all right, there we go.
Had to say things off mic that can't be on mic. I'll spend an additional 4 to raise my resistance from 2 to 6.
All right, I will spend 2 more to increase it, to basically match it.
Okay.
And Perpetua, you see this thing land and sort of grab on to the left shoulder of Father Bell, biting through his suit, tearing a chunk.
Does it get through my shield?
So the thing is, it only does 5 points of damage. Does it get through your shield?
It does.
Because yours is 6 to 9, yes?
That's correct. That's
So you can see it just rip out a chunk of his suit, vestments, and flesh come free. And this thing turns around, just grinding Father Bell's flesh that it took out into kind of this pulpy mess that it then swallows down in a disgusting slurping noise. You two are up in any order that you wish.
Did you miss us so much that you had to come up with something this horrifying?
No,
Oh,
I had
my
this
goodness.
planned for weeks. I did a bunch of other game planning while I was on vacation.
Great.
You're gonna play my Cthulhu game when I run it, right, Lily?
Nope. Pass on that. I already have nightmares from other monsters you've created.
So which one of you is going first? What do you want to do?
That's for those in the audience watching. That's really the bar for a GM. You want to actually cause severe, debilitating psychological trauma to your players. That's how you know you're a good GM. No?
Your metric and mine might be. It's a Venn diagram. So Father Bell, what are you doing? This thing is on you.
Okay. I'm going to censure it. You're a naughty, naughty monster. Repent your folly. And I will give it, make its further attacks against us unfavorable.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
Oh, you do? Do you?
Well, I need to spend its spirits in resistance. So
It's a blind bid the first time.
Okay. Well, then I'll spend 10.
Yeah, I'll do it. They have a spirit resistance of 4.
Okay. Well,
I would have guessed
overshot a little
6, but that's okay.
anyway,
To be fair, they are Ashkagael's children.
yeah, you being naughty in the Pancreator's eye.
I feel like you lost something in the last week, Father Bell. Your sermons don't have the same bite that they once did, but it's still effective. As you can see, blisters start to erupt on the creature's skin. This and now that you're up close, you can see that their skin is kind of this light gray, very pallid looking, almost rubbery like flesh. Perpetua.
I shoot whichever creature is nearest. Well, I attempt to shoot whichever creature is nearest to
That
me.
seems like a fair intent.
Dex and shoot.
Dex and shoot.
All right. Oh, I succeed with a 6. So I will spend 6.
You're gonna spend 6.
Yes.
Well, they have a resistance of 2. All right, I'm gonna spend 4 to up it. Do you want to surge
then
and have more?
Yes.
Okay. How much more are you going to spend? I mean, you just have to spend 1 more to hit them.
Yeah, right. I will spend 1 more.
All right. How much damage does your gun do, and do you wish to increase it with victory points?
That's a really great question because I don't ever hit anything with my gun, so we're gonna find out. It does 6 damage.
Okay. Is this the first time you've hit anything?
No, that's inaccurate, but it's almost always unsuccessful.
All right. So you have, for those in the audience who don't know, Perpetua has a revolver, and that is what goes off at this point.
I think the last time was on Antioch. That's when last time you did.
You're not wrong.
The statement that Perpetua usually misses may be inaccurate, but to be fair, so is Perpetua.
Well, anyway, I will spend 4 extra to do 8 damage total.
All right. So Perpetua, what does it look like?
I hit it center mass, and it just kind of stumbles back and lays prone.
Okay. So you splatter one of the trees behind it. It goes stumbling back, holding onto this gut wound from the revolver, from actually your sumpter. And the crack just resounds and echoes through the chamber, and you can hear other flapping of wings, these like leathery, membranous wings, as it hits the ground dead. Top of the round, there's one on each of you. Father Bell, do you have a choice, color preference between red and green? I'm using my Christmas dice today.
I'll take the red.
All right. Well, the green was a 16 and the red was a 4. So I'm going to spend 4 points to bite you in the same shoulder.
Rude.
That did not go where I thought it was going.
Very rude. Okay. But it's rolling unfavorably against me?
It is. Oh, you're right. It did have to roll unfavorably against you. Let me roll a second time. Well, that one's a crit, so I will take the 4 against you.
I'll take that too.
Father Bell robbing JM of his crits since day one.
Thanks, Bilbert.
I just made you re-roll that and roll that again to mock you.
Mocks me a second time.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll take 5 points of damage.
All right, you will take 5 points of damage as it bites into you again. Perpetua, you see white for a brief second as it pulls back. You're guessing the collarbone, maybe the shoulder, but then the blood's like kind of obscures everything. Perpetua, the one in front of you, shocked by your aggressively violent behavior against its companion, also just flails ineffectually at you. So, the two of you, and then we will jump back to the other group.
I endeavor to shoot this next creature.
Go for it.
I do not succeed.
Okay. just like that. All right. Father Bell, your salvation will not be coming from Perpetua.
I'm very sorry.
Fairly, that's okay. Pancreator helps them that helps themselves.
Not actually
I
in the
light
Omega Gospels,
with my
but...
little laser pistol. And I miss.
Oh no.
So, Aegon, Cutter, Gabriel, you stand there at the edge of this cliff. You can see the sheer cliffs dropping down. The holes through the floor where, again, as you said, the spaceship has just crashed through. You can see the debris of sensor pods and stabilizing fins and the radar dish kind of lie on various platforms kind of below you. And again, as I said, there's sort of three archways here. One definitely seems to lead back up. One is a tunnel that seems to kind of go down into the left, and you can, Gabriel, you're no runner, but even you can smell the fetid, rotted meat smell that is just coming up out of this tunnel, as if someone just took a bite of rotted meat and blew it into your face. The third one is just a set of spiraling stairs, again, that have been worn nearly clean, that is right next to the hole and seems to be dropping at just a vertical shaft going down.
And we don't see if there's any survivors from... Because when we left them, they were on the ship and it went down.
Yeah,
so
you don't see where the ship came to rest at all.
Okay, well, I'm looking and saying bodies got tossed out.
Give me a perception plus observe roll there.
We don't have any repelling gear, do we?
Wishes ain't crits. That is true.
I would like to pull out my jetpack. My jetpack strong, powerful enough to carry both me and Jeremiah's?
I realize the trick question you're asking me here, Richard. You may not Boba Fett your way out of this.
I make it with a 6. Is this gonna be another one? The more I spend, the more I can observe.
Yes.
I will spend.
And Richard, you do have the survival gear that was part of the suits that you put on, so you do have rappelling line, like you have climbing lines that you can like chemically bond with the rock and rappel down.
Any idea how much of that I've got?
As you inspect it, you've got 300 meters worth of line.
That's a lot of line.
Cutter.
I'll spend 10.
Damn. All right. So Cutter, as you kind of like quickly take in all of the sensory information and parse it in one blink of a Think Machine's flywheel, you can see there are bloody footprints on the stairs leading down. You can also see about 200 meters down, there's a small outcropping of rock where it definitely looks like something sheared through it. And with 10, you are able to pick up, you see like the IV pole that was attached to Bran in the med bay, kind of near the wall edge of this ledge. So not the drop off point, but the point that it kind of extends from the wall.
That poor bastard is just not having a good day.
And that's where those stairs lead down to?
You don't know where the stairs lead down to. This is just down the
That's down the shaft, right?
Yeah.
I think we should rappel down, see if we can get to him faster.
We can, I guess. We might be there already if we didn't stop to say wayward souls, but that's between you and the pan creator.
And no many padres. Just kind of over again from behind you, whispering in your ear. You do find two things. One, Jeremias is earnest in his prayers that he is offering. Two, his voice is slightly nasally, and it's right in your right ear. So, we must be careful. As my father warned me, the great taker is not a... She's not of this world. I should have...
Technically, none of us are from this world unless you're native to this planet. So...
We believed that there was a world within the body, a world outside the body. I should have known when they told me I could not use the jump gate cross anymore, that I was straying into heresy. But Father
So, do you have any theories about what does kill these things?
I do not know if we can kill it. It is a creature not of this world, and I do not mean, let me rephrase, not of this universe.
Okay.
However, I do know that near the time of my binding, a great light, much like the one that came from your reliquary, moved through these halls and sealed away many of the great raven's servants and her followers and her power. There was a great battle beneath the earth. We all saw it and were tormented by the light of the Pan-Creator as he revealed it in its depths. I do not know that this is a creature that one can kill, but maybe through prayer and faith, one can drive it back into the wastelands from which it came.
Right, well, you better keep practicing then.
All right, you guys set your chem pythons, and so just an aside. I know I've been running Fading Suns with like a certain vision in my head, but you guys should really go check out the introduction book because there's a lot shinier science fiction in Fading Suns than I think I initially kind of equated with it, which I really like that imagery and that art. He said, taking the group to the bottom of a rocky demon-infested tor. So you secure your chem pythons. Somehow Jeremias wraps himself even tighter around Brother Gabriel, arms and legs. What were you saying, Cutter?
No, I kind of pictured that too. That like Byzantium Secundus is probably very modern, but if some planets are going to be
like
stone
this.
castles,
yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So as you rappel down, I need both of you to give me a endurance plus vigor roll.
I'll spend 4 victory points on this.
The chat is cracking me up tonight. Like, you guys are spectacular, and thank you for participating.
All right, I succeeded with a 6.
You succeed with a 6. This is going to be just a hard task, so 4 VP will get you down the wall.
I will spend that.
Cutter, did you make it?
Okay. Yep, I got a 10, so I'm just doing the math.
All right.
From my vault, I go.
As you pythons get the harness set, and sort of as you start rappelling back, it starts feeding the line at the rate that you are rappelling back. It's a hyper dense thread that supports not only the weight of Cutter, but definitely the weight of both Brother Gabriel and an emaciated, tortured Heresiarch from the depths of time.
Heresiarch.
Follow me, Gabe. I've done this before. I go down face first Australian, so my rifle's at the ready.
Oh, that's a repelling position in your culture. Interesting.
The Aussie style. They're from the other part of the continent, that Byzantium Secundus, you know.
So you guys make it down. However, whatever style you use to descend the side of the rubble, you make it to this outcropping, and you can clearly see when you get down there. You can see the scrapes of the paint of the ship as it like lodged here. You can see like metal debris, glass kind of shattered everywhere. You do see the footprints in the glass this time, leading to what seems to be a rock wall.
Look for, is it rock or a door?
It's rock. Oh, so much closer. But 2 have fallen. I see you have picked up a new member. Jeremias, have they told you what happens to those who walk in their wake? He will be back on that altar soon, and I will ensure several of my hounds have nothing to do but play with your entrails. The prayer in your ear gets a little bit more high-pitched and a little bit faster in repetition.
Again, glance back. Is his eyes shut tightly as he's praying? Knuckles white, holding on to
white
Brother
knuckles
Gabriel's
holding
armor.
onto the pauldrons of, those epic pauldrons that were designed for Brother Gabriel.
They have little handles.
They
on the
do.
back.
There's, it's almost as if he knew. Father Bell and Perpetua, the creatures attack you again. I'm still rolling with disadvantage, yes? Or, sorry, unfavorably?
You succeeded.
So I succeeded? Okay.
You
Well,
succeeded,
I rolled twice, so I'm just going to roll once. That's a miss on Father Bell, but Perpetua, this thing finally, she sort of grabs your head and kind of pulls you down to her mouth. I'm going to spend He said, looking at her character sheet.
Exactly what I need to spend.
I'm going to spend 3 to overcome your resistance.
I will spend 3 more.
I will spend. I will match the 3, and end up doing 5 points of damage as it just sort of, you can feel the teeth gnashing in circles on your kind of your head, your face, and your neck. Father Bell, what are you doing?
Joke.
All right. I'm going to censure again, and I'm not rolling favorably, but I'm tossing a weird point in as I invoke the words of the prophet. Long is the journey into night, but at last the dawn breaks.
There we go. There's our Father Bell. You had to get that dark eye character kind of out of your system. I understand.
All right.
Oh, he's never coming out of your system.
And I succeed. So the resistance is 4. So I'll spend 4 on the resistance.
Okay. That overcomes their spirit resistance.
Okay. And I don't know if the little boost of weird does anything to it, but you're rolling unfavorably again.
So you sort of supercharged it with a weird point?
That is correct.
All right. So Father Bell, what is your character's faith?
9.
So Father Bell, as you hold up your jump gate cross to kind of to don this rite, it flares white hot in your hand. You will take 2 vitality of damage from it.
Okay.
But as you watch Perpetua, you're kind of next to the creature. As you pull your head back, you can kind of look behind you, because the shadow is kind of cast, and you can see like the creature's bones and body, kind of the light shining through the membrane, kind of highlighting them. And then the membrane starts to bubble and, kind of peel away from itself, and the whole body erupts in flames. And the thing goes screeching into the woods to die in pain and torment somewhere off camera. Perpetua, what are you doing?
Is there brawling?
Yeah, there
this
is.
game?
Yeah, go for it.
Fight.
Oh, fight.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that I'm any better at fight than I am at shoot. So, I mean.
Anybody got a weird point for Perpetua?
Oh, I do. I've got weird points. You want one?
I would love a weird
Yeah,
point.
the other group has been making puns all night, so I assume they just have a stack of chips.
I could say something encouraging too and give you some victory points, because I got a bunch with that last
Go for it.
Oh, you say something inspiring.
I'd say something inspiring.
We were all waiting for you to say something inspiring.
What? Yeah, it's just like, no. Mastering yourself is the true power, and I give you 10 victory points.
Okay, thank you. All right, I will roll fight. Is it Dex and fight?
It is actually strength and fight.
Okay.
If you only had a jump cross. That seems to be the trick.
Well, I succeed with a 3. So that's good.
That is good enough to hit them. I will spend.
Okay.
I will. So, how many are you spending to overcome their resistance? You know their base resistance is 2.
Right. I'll spend 3.
All right. I will spend 2 to get it to 4. Do you have 1 more to spend?
Yes.
All right. So, you hit. Your revolver sort of snaps up as you get the blood out of your eyes. How much damage are you doing?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, because you're punching. So the base damage on a punch is 2?
Okay.
How many VP are you spending to up it?
Yeah, I need to do math in my head. Hold on.
Are you punching or pistol whipping?
Oh,
I mean,
I
she
could
horse
pistol whip.
whip him, but she doesn't have a horse. So
I don't have a horse. I will spend 4 additional to do 2 extra damage. So total of 4 damage.
Total of 4 damage. All right, you haul off and pistol whip this thing, and its soft, hollow bones just give way as you hit it in the side of the face, and kind of the right side of its jaw sort of goes slack.
You can see the serial number of your pistol.
That's right. It says Perpetua was here. Cutter and Gabriel, you are back on this platform. You can see the footprints, and a set of bloody footprints lead right to the rock face, but there is no opening, there is no entrance.
Is there
Try
anything
to-
farther down?
push on it and see if it's just.
Give me a strength plus vigor roll, Cutter. What were you asking, Gabriel?
I was asking if there's anything else further down. I can also strength plus vigor it if you would like me to.
It is your choice. You do know that as you as you kind of look down, there is a rocky kind of a rocky wall that descends down all the way to this kind of that you can see that it is clearly a lake of lava below you.
Oh, good. All right, I'll give the door a shot.
Okay.
Pretty strong dude. That's a success with a 10.
All right. How much are the two of you spending?
I succeeded with an 11, so spend 8 to push.
I'll give it 8 as well.
All right. With 16, you guys begin to push, and almost as if the rock wall ripples, and you can see this seam opens up and kind of organically pulls back, revealing this tunnel. You can see footprints through the kind of on the detritus on the ground. You see runners' footprints. You see Bells, Perpetuas, and this set of bloody ones as you go running down the hall, or as the hall opens before you.
Shall we
Yeah,
go?
these guys see footprints freaking everywhere. Like, we could have done that footprints gag a million times. Okay, gotta focus.
I always liked that poem, is what Jeremiah says as you go running down. The creature attacks you again.
Hanging in the
Perpetua.
bathroom at home when I grew up. Well, I was raised in a
Perpetua.
monastery.
It hits you again. I'm gonna spend 3 to overcome your resistance.
I cannot beat that.
Need a weird point?
Do you have a weird point?
I've got 2 more weird points.
Okay, great. I will take another weird point and I'll
Mark
raise
is
it by
the
3.
weirdest of them all. Wait.
I appreciate Mark and his weirdness. I increased my.
Spend some of that fade I gave you last game.
I know, right? I increased my resistance by 3.
So that would take
Total
you
of 5, I think?
Total of 5, so I would have to spend 2 more. All right, so I will match it, and I will increase the damage to 6 points to you.
Rude. Again.
This time you can definitely feel that it does not let go of you. It attaches to your arm, and you can see it kind of is masticating on your arm, and like your arm's growing paler as you can kind of feel it sucking the blood out of your flesh.
I am at less than half of my vitality points. Does that do anything to me?
Yes, it basically is just a state that I keep track of.
Okay.
All right, which one of you are going first?
I will go.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot that thing.
All right, go for it.
I believe in you, Father Bell.
All right. So let's see. Its resistance is 2.
It is.
Correct? Okay. So I will spend 2.
I will increase it by 2.
Okay. Well, I will. All right. Now I have to do math. I will spend another 2.
All right, you hit. What's the damage on your weapon?
It is 4, and I will increase it to 5.
All right. What does it look like, Father Bell?
Basically, I just put the laser on, next to its head, not pointing towards Perpetua, pointing, and just pull the trigger. Blessed light.
You didn't botch, so it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. It punches a hole through this creature's head, and it drops. And as you sort of stand there looking around, you can feel like the branches have kind of pulled away from the path. You can very clearly see the route that Perpetua was taking. And Brother Gabriel, you and Cutter kind of reach the end of this tunnel that, again, as I described to them, leads to this path that overlooks these trees. You can see there is a paw in the ground, like just sort of lying there, claws up, and it definitely is a Varaxian lower left hand.
Is it
Like
severed?
severed?
Is it what?
Like crushed.
No, it's just lying there.
A severed Varaxian left hand.
A severed Varaxian left hand.
Oh boy.
As we were traversing the tunnel, before we came out, I wanted, since they've been rubbing off on me, I wanted to basically invoke my Saint's Blessing perk, and I'm going to pray to Saint Beatrice to help us end this threat and help us get to my compatriots, and I'm going to convert some of my victory points to weird points.
All right.
That is a legit perk.
Can only do 3 because my faith is only 3.
As you finish this prayer, the prayer of Saint Beatrice, you look ahead and you can see at the base, like kind of in the path of the woods, you can see Perpetua and Father Bell. They both
Surrounded by disgusting pulp.
They're just surrounded by pulp, and Father Bell Father Bell and Perpetua are bleeding horribly. As you head down the path to reunite, as Ristar has said, this is a good learning opportunity for separating the party. You rejoin with each other, and in fairness, that is true.
Not what we did.
That is where we will stop for tonight. We will pick up with the 4 of you back together next week, and
I'd like to point out to the chat that we didn't voluntarily split the party.
that is true.
Yeah.
We stepped off the ramp, and the creature crashed into the ship. It fell into the hole.
There was a giant acid pterodactyl dive bombing my ship. And so I did the only sane action hero thing to do, which is to jump on top of the ship and start fighting it.
Mm-hmm.
And
just like
that is the
I
learning
knew
point.
You would.
And the rest is history.
All right, everybody. Thank you all for playing. It felt good to get back in the saddle of Fading Suns. We will be back next Thursday with what may be the penultimate episode of Curse of the Abandoned. All right, JM, good job, me. Don't forget to check out the rest of the great shows on Ulysses International. I'm partial to Myth Campfire Chats because I also get to be a part of that. But they have the Ulysses Worlds news show. They have Heretical Musings. If you want to learn more about Fading Suns, go listen to Bill and everyone just talk about it because they're the ones who wrote it and they've been steeped in the lore and the world and the system for basically the entirety of its existence. Ulysses Con starts tomorrow. If you subscribe to the Ulysses International channel, you'll get alerts for all of these great panels that are going on. And check out the Iconic Production channel. We are Iconic Production. That's our little dragon logo that is mostly covered up by Brother Gabriel. Friday nights we run a 5th edition game called It Gets Worse. And on Mondays, Becca, who plays Runner, normally runs 13th Age, but we have a guest GM running 13th Age for the next 2 Mondays. So Mark was going to add something.
Yeah, the Dark Eye Ulysses also has a crowdfunding on Game on Tabletop.
Yes,
Gods of Aventuria open Tuesday. It's already funded, and there's lots of good stuff on there. You can check that out.
There's a lot of great stuff on there. The Theater Nights campaign, the other half of it is on there. The first half is great. I love the first 4 adventures of the Theater Nights. Gods of Aventuria is a lot of fun. I've got a chance to look at it. It's a lot like Aventuria Magic, where each god has basically their own rights and spells and rituals, and I mean unlike other games where basically if you play or a lot like Fading Suns, where it depends on what order you pick as to what rights you have access to. So that's something I really like. I think it adds a lot of flavor to playing those types of characters. So check it out on Game on Tabletop. And as we get our Fading Stuffs books in when they start shipping next month, we will show them off on the stream so that you will then go out and want to buy Fading Sun stuff. So chat, thank you. As always, I love interacting with you. Thanks to JD, who's always sending the chat stuff my way and kind of keeping us rolling. And we will be back on Tuesday with the Four Horsemen tour game, which I am super excited for what's coming next. So everybody, thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. I'm JM the GM. We're Iconic Production. This is the Ulysses International Twitch channel, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Australian style.